What is the second event? Casting out demons. So, who failed to believe? Disciples failed to understand who is Jesus, right? Now let's look at how demons behaved. The encounter here between Jesus and the demoniac from the region of Gerasenes, right? So it's a region of Gerasenes, focuses the reader attention once again to Jesus' authority over Satan and his demons. Matthew recorded that at least 2 demoniacs were involved in this incident, right? Matthew talks about 2, whereas the Gospel of Mark has chosen to focus only 1 who was prominent. The story also reinforces the theme, right? Reinforces the theme of the obduracy or hardness of these or those who witnessed the miracles of Jesus and yet still came to reject him, his authority, right? Yes, Mark wants to say people, even though they saw the miracles, they don't believe Jesus. Friends, maybe some of you are thinking like that, right? We want to show miracles because miracles will help people to believe. Well, miracles will not help people to believe. That's not a biblical thing. Yes, you do miracles, people will simply say, yeah, he is a miracle worker God. That's all they will believe. They will not believe, they cannot accept the idea of Jesus as God of their life. What is the problem with all these charismatic movement, right? Crusade people, right? They have crusades and show a lot of miracles. And you would see there are a lot of people follow them, but 99% of them are not genuinely born again. Not genuinely born again because they don't know the gospel. Friends, maybe if you want to know who is born again, you ask to your church members, what is gospel? Because if you really believe the Bible, then you have to believe that God saves people through the gospel. 1 Peter chapter 1. God regenerates a person through the word of God, through the gospel. And Romans chapter 10 says, faith comes by hearing the gospel, right? Now you ask the question, how many people know the gospel in your church? How many people know? No? They all will say, yeah, we believe in Jesus. We believe in God. They don't know what is the gospel because their belief is equal to all other religions' belief. Oh, we believe in this God. They believe in this God. We believe in this God. Because this God has helped us some way. Maybe healed us. Right? That is the same story. That's what happens when you present Jesus as simply a miracle worker. So, that was one of the discussion that I had past weeks. Everyone claims that they are Christians. And I would say, so they asked, one question was asked, hey, what is the difference of your church from other churches? What makes you different? And I said, I think that one of the major differences is the gospel. And of course, here in our church, we are talking about separation. The doctrine of separation. And so we were talking about, okay, why, what is the main thing you need to look when someone claims that they are Christian, what is the main thing? What is the main thing? The main thing is the gospel. Gospel is the main thing. And if you ask this question, you will learn every church has a gospel. Roman Catholic, Orthodox, CSI, Marthomite, or Baptist, Brethren, Pentecostals, Charismatics, like everyone, what do you have? They have gospel. Yeah. So, the problem, then what is the difference? You all believe in Jesus? No. What kind of gospel is yours? Is the question. Right? Your church has got the gospel. What kind of gospel is this? Is your gospel somehow, okay, if you teach and preach that the gospel is, a person is saved by grace through faith, then it is a true gospel. True gospel. By grace through faith. But what's the problem? You look at almost all the churches, you take Roman Catholic, all these churches. You know what they do? Yeah, they will say, yeah, we are saved by grace, right? We are saved through faith. Yes, we believe. You know what else they will believe? They will say, plus works. That is what their gospel. So if you wanted to understand the difference from, for the true gospel, you look at their belief system. For example, what is a work they are talking about? Works include baptism, right? Then maybe there's some kind of confirmation. There are, most of the churches have got 7 sacraments, right? The 7 sacraments. Yeah. And it ends with extreme unction, right? The last one, extreme unction. When someone dies, the priest to go and to apply something on the head to send him to heaven, right? Yeah. These are all part of works. All part of works. And what basically all these people would say, if you don't do this, you will not go to heaven. For example, you might have heard some pastors who would come and say, if you're not baptized, you will not go to heaven. Right? That's what they would say. Because in their gospel, they believe that baptism is a requirement to be saved. That is what adding works to be saved. So my question would be always, whoever comes to me, okay, what is the difference? I would ask, what is your gospel? You tell me. You say you're a Christian, right? You say you're a Christian. What is your gospel? Yeah, I know that you believe in Jesus. Because you believe in Jesus, don't think that you will be easily taken up. No, that's not the way. You need to know the gospel, right? Right? Have you added anything to the gospel? Any work, including baptism? I would say you are wrong. If your doctrinal statement says we believe baptism for the remission of sin, that means you added to the gospel. You added to the gospel. You are saying death of Christ is not sufficient. Baptism is extra needed to go to heaven. That's what your church teaches, and you are part of the church. And you are part of a wrong doctrine. You're supporting a church that follow wrong doctrine, right? So that's what I would say. So I'm saying people do miracles. They always came, Pastor, we have to show all these gimmicks so that we can have people. Yeah. Show all the gimmicks. It is all these miracle workers. It is simply cheating people. It's cheating. Cheating the unlearned. Cheating the novice. This is not Bible's method of evangelism, right? But Mark wants to say demons are better. Demons are better because they really know who is Jesus. That's what Mark wants to say. Now let's look at, so demons declared unhesitatingly that Jesus was the Son of the Most High God. Even disciples had the problem, but demons are able to. Following the calming of the storm, Jesus and his disciples arrived on the eastern side of the lake in the country of Gerasenes, a region named after the city of Gerasa, which was located about 30 miles to the southeast. Nearby, there was a demon-possessed man, right? So there was one man who was possessed by demon, right? What he did, he had been living in the caves. So if you go to some of the areas of Galilee, you will see plenty of caves in the hills, small caves, so many, right? That dotted the area. And sometimes people used these caves as tombs, caves are used to bury. The demoniac was a violent man. When the word demoniac means the man who is possessed by demon, was a violent man, and no one was able to bind or subdue him. He was a violent man. No one was able to subdue him. Even with the chains. Wow. Look at the power. You cannot bind this man with the chains. Both night and day, he incessantly cried out in pain and anguish, gashing himself with the stones, and he hits himself with the stones. He punishes himself with the stone. Seeing Jesus from a distance, demoniac ran to him. Ran to whom? Ran to Jesus. Bowed down, shouted with a loud voice, calling Jesus by name, addressing him as what? Son of the Most High God. Has anyone claimed there? Even the disciples were not able to, right? And what the demons did? Begging Jesus not to torment him, right? Not to torment him. Speaking to the demon, Jesus asked him his name. All right, Jesus asked, hey, what is your name? Demon responded by saying that his name was a legion. Right? He's a legion. That means not one, many in one individual. Many demons together possessing one person. At this point, Jesus, having ordered the demons to come out of the man, Jesus said, come out of this man. Demons began what? Begging Jesus. Please do not send them to where? The abyss. Which means, which means it's the lower parts of the earth, according to, if you look at the Bible, If you look at the New Testament, where some of the, if you look at First Peter, you will read that some of these demons are chained. Demons are chained. All right. So he said, don't send us to the abyss. Then there was a herd of about 2,000 pigs, swine pigs, feeding nearby. And the demons besieged Jesus rather that he send them into the herd. So what happened? Jesus gave the demons permission to inhabit the pigs. So there were about how many? 2,000. There was a herd about 2,000 pigs. And he ordered the demons to go to the pigs. And coming out of the man and entering the pigs, demons drove the pigs headlong down the slope into the sea, and the pigs all drowned in the sea. What happened? Pigs were drowned. Okay. So here is the quotation from Lane. It says, Jesus allowed the demons to enter the swine. Okay, why Jesus allowed the demons to enter the swine? To indicate beyond question that their real purpose was total destruction of their host. Why Jesus allowed demons to enter into swine or to pig? To show that the demon's intent is to destroy the host. Remember already, this man who had the legion of demons, what he was doing? He was taking stones and hitting himself. Right? Hitting himself. He was killing himself because demons always want to destroy their host. While this point may have been obscured in the case of the man, there was a blatant evidence in the instance of the swine. Their intention was no different with regard to the man whom they had possessed. All right, so that's what happened. All right. Response of the inhabitants. What happened? All right, what happened to the people who saw this miracle? The man who was living in caves, who was unable, who are being in the people who were not able to chain him. And now what happened? Seeing their herd destroyed, the pig herd, right? Group of pigs destroyed. And fearful that they might be charged, the herdsmen ran to nearby city of Gadara and reported to the inhabitants the details of what had taken place. So the inhabitants of the city and surrounding region, hearing the report, came out to see for themselves what had happened. When they arrived, they saw Jesus sitting with the former demoniac, now fully clothed and restored to his senses, and they became frightened. They became frightened. The eyewitnesses confirmed all that had been reported about the demoniac and the herd of pigs. All right, the people were really concerned about what? Demoniac and the herd of pigs. What is the concern? What is the problem of the people? Oh, they love Jesus, right? They love because look at a man who has been suffering with the legions of demons. It's been free. Wow, okay, what a testimony it is. No, that was not the point. Concerned more about the loss of their livelihood than the great miracle that had just occurred, as testified by the fact that the former demoniac was sitting there fully restored. The inhabitants began imploring Jesus. begged Jesus to go from there. Please leave us. Jesus, we don't want you to be here. Jesus reluctantly complied and returned to the boat to depart. As Jesus did this, however, the former demoniac pleaded with Jesus that he be allowed to accompany him. But Jesus responded by saying he should return to his home and report the great things Jesus has done for him in showing him mercy. The former demoniac obeyed and began to proclaim throughout Decapolis all that Jesus had accomplished on his behalf. And all who heard his report was amazed. Right? That is a story. Right? It's a story of healing demoniac. Who believed? Did people believe by looking at the mirror? No. No. Right? In the Gospel of John, maybe John would say, yeah, these people believed, but that belief was some kind of head knowledge. They never stood for the faith, and they all left Jesus later time. That's what John would say. So my point would be, is this, friends, and as we study, don't preach or don't think the idea that somehow doing miracles will help the people to believe. No, unless and until God opens the heart of a person through the gospel, they will never truly believe. Never truly believe. The reason why you are here is that maybe God has opened your heart to the gospel and you knew who Jesus really is, that you need to follow him throughout your life. That's the reason you followed. But that's not the case with everyone. All right.